There was a moment when the world believed FC Barcelona was finished. Not weakened, not rebuilding, finished. The club that once terrified Europe had become a shadow of itself. The Camp Nou no longer felt invincible. The money was gone. The legends were leaving. And every defeat felt heavier than the last. Humiliations in Europe. Chaos behind the scenes. A generation raised watching greatness, now watching collapse. And nothing captured that collapse more brutally than Lisbon. 8-2. Bayern Munich. One of the darkest nights in Barcelona history. A humiliation so painful, it felt like the end of an era in real time. Cubarsí stood helpless on the touchline while Barça crumbled before the world. The club that once defined European football had broken beyond repair. Then came more pain. PSG eliminations, European failures, mental collapses. Every season carrying the same feeling. Hope followed by heartbreak. The football world laughed. They said the dynasty was over. They said Barcelona would never return to the top again. And the most painful part, for the first time in decades, even Barca fans started losing belief.
But history has always taught us something about this club. Barcelona suffers. Barcelona bleeds. But Barcelona always rises. Because this is not just a football club. This is identity. This is resistance. This is Catalonia standing tall against the world. Més que un club. And then, everything changed. Hansi Flick arrived. Not with promises, not with excuses, but with intensity, discipline, mentality. The type of mentality Barcelona had been missing for years. Because Flick understood something immediately. Barcelona did not only need tactical improvement, it needed psychological resurrection. This team had talent before he arrived, but it lacked belief. Under previous managers, Barca often looked fragile. One goal conceded and heads dropped. One difficult away night and panic appeared. But Flick changed the culture. Training became ruthless. Pressing became non-negotiable. Every player fought for every meter. No passengers, no excuses. He inherited a squad many people called incomplete. Too young, too fragile, not ready to compete with Europe's elite. But Flick saw something different. He saw hunger. And slowly, the sleeping giant began to wake up. Barcelona stopped playing scared. They attacked with aggression again, pressed with purpose again, suffered together again. And most importantly, they started believing again. Players that looked lost came back to life. Marcus Rashford arrived carrying doubt and criticism from England. At Manchester United, people questioned his mentality, questioned his work rate, questioned whether he could ever become elite again. But at Barcelona, he rediscovered himself. Fearless, direct, dangerous. Then there was Ferran Torres, mocked for inconsistency, written off by fans. But under Flick, he evolved. Smarter movement, relentless pressing, clutch performances in massive moments. Leading them, the future of Barcelona quietly exploded into life. La Masia, the heartbeat of this club. Lamine Yamal became more than just a wonder kid. He became a symbol, a reminder that Barcelona will always create stars when the world thinks they are finished. Cubarsí, Gavi, Bolden, a generation learning not only how to play, but how to survive pressure. And standing beside them all, Robert Lewandowski, a leader who arrived when Barca was drowning, a warrior who left comfort at Bayern Munich to rebuild a broken giant.
Not just scoring goals, but teaching the next generation what it means to carry this badge. But the journey
was not perfect. Even during the rise, pain remained part of the process. The 2024-25 Champions League campaign ended in heartbreak against Inter Milan. A brutal reminder that this Barcelona side was still young, still learning, still growing. And despite the tears, despite the disappointment, something felt different this time. Because unlike previous collapses, this team did not look broken. It looked unfinished. And that terrified Europe even more. And then came the domination. Real Madrid assembled stars, Galacticos, super teams. But somehow, they kept falling. Again and again and again. Because while Madrid built names, Barcelona rebuilt identity. Under Flick, Barca became relentless, aggressive, fearless. A team willing to suffer for each other. A team willing to run until the final second. A team that finally looked mentally strong again. And suddenly, Europe stopped laughing. Because the same club they called dead was becoming dangerous again. Back-to-back league titles, El Clasico victories, young stars becoming world-class before our eyes. And now, the future feels terrifying for the rest of Europe.
No preguntis per què. Del Barça soc supporter. Sempre t'animaré. Soy!
The one-to-one rule may soon return. The finances are stabilizing. New signings are coming. Another generation is rising from La Masia. And for the first time in years, Barcelona no longer looks like a club trying to survive. It looks like a club preparing to conquer again. Because this story was never about a quick rebuild. It was about resurrection. The rebirth of belief. The rebirth of identity. The rebirth of Barcelona. And maybe the football world made one mistake. They mistook Barcelona's suffering for the end. But clubs like Barca do not die. They wait. They rebuild. And when the moment comes, they rise louder than ever before.